Even though it was almost a week ago when I did the trip back to New York, I didn't do a video since, and honestly, I may never have this month-long period where I'm at UD again without a break. It probably won't be happening again where it's this long for the rest of my time here. Or at the very least freshman year. At some point I might have to spend more weekends down at UD versus coming back up just because of increased commitments. But I'm gonna try and see how much I can get away with and how often I can come back, which I should be able to do once a month at least first few years. But it was just such a long and weird time because the first period was 2 weeks, which I've basically done that before on teen travel trips. And then this is going to be a 3-week stint. But just the way that everything happened was odd. First of all, a little bit of context. Just 2 days after getting discharged from the hospital on August 18th, I wound up leaving my house for Delaware on August 20th. 21st, we take a bit of a drive, get our PNC bank account set up, and then do Fresh Fest, where I then, move into my dorm 2 days early. 22nd is more Fresh Fest, and then 23rd is where my parents went last time. Not a whole lot going on because most people moved in on the 23rd, so welcome days were the 24th and 25th. Classes start on the 26th, and it's honestly, it wasn't too intense. There wasn't anything going on. September 4th is a Thursday. There's like a couple things going on. I go to my classes per normal, then leave a day early because on the 5th I was getting a procedure in New York, so I had to leave and come up. Spent the 6th up and then the 7th, and then the 7th is where our adventure begins because honestly, just what happened in like the next bit after that, just needs to be dissected like in depth because a little bit crazy, not gonna lie, as to what happened next. So anyway, enough of the yammering. September 7th marks my return to UD. Basically, I leave after seeing my grandparents, and in the morning, I leave on the LAR at around 12:45, get to Penn around 1:45, switch my train to be a 2:15 Crescent train, get to Wilmington around 4, get back to my dorm around 4:40, unpack, and then Epsilon Eta was doing rush week, and I was like, since I got here earlier than expected, at 6:30 p.m. they were actually doing some games at the Green. So, and I was actually just in there, but I'm not going back in there. So I was just like, you know what? Let's just go since I have nothing else to do, which lasted till 8. And that was that. It was just such a weird day which honestly any day coming back is. But especially that one because I was like doing UD things, but at the same time, I woke up in my own bed and had my own house food for breakfast. That's a bit of an abnormal combination. The 8th was a bit of a boring day, like a lot of Mondays are. Not much going on, though it was the first Monday of classes. The 9th was a very intense day because after classes, I made a decision of going back to my dorm from McDowell Hall, which is almost a mile from my dorm, just to then go to a chicken place, which was a mile from my dorm for the Club Swim fundraiser, walked another mile-ish because there was a Hillel event at Barnes & Noble that turned out to not really happen, but I did that. Then I believe Epsilon Eta was doing another rush event in a forget where, but it was like about a half mile. Had to go back another half mile to my dorm. And then I went to my first club swim practice at 9:30 to 10:30, which is a mile one way. That was like, I think I got 30,000 steps. It was an insane amount of walking. A lot of these days would be 2. The 10th was like more chill because I only had like one thing going on besides classes. The 11th was a bit of an intense day as well. And it was another rush event from like 7 to 8. Guess nothing too insane, but it was still a little bit. 12th was just classes and then from like 5 to 7. The 13th was an intense day because of coastal cleanup in Slaughter Beach. So basically for that, me and a couple other climate scholars went down, took an hour-and-a-half trip down Route 1 into the southern areas of Delaware, and then we just cleaned up trash for 3 hours. Got back, but didn't really feel like doing anything after that, so I really didn't. But that still took up like 5 hours of my day. Did I know that person that was just walking by? I don't know. So that was a very just awkward day. And then EH has a final rush event from like 11 to 12, a nature hike in White Clay Creek State Park. So I do that. And yeah. Besides that, I was just watching the Eagles game. Not a whole lot of stuff going on the 14th besides that event, but it was a pretty big nature hike because you were going up to White Clay Creek State Park. All right, that was the 14th. 15th, it was a Monday. There was actually some interesting stuff going on, but not that much. 16th, again, besides the AMS meeting and the club swimming, there wasn't too much going on. Nothing too exciting. The 17th, oh, actually, wait, no. The 17th, there's something interesting going on. Not just networking was happening. So that's like an honors college event they do once a month. I can't always go to them, but I went to that one. Where you just talk with UD alumni and, you know, I think in this case, they just discussed, study abroad options and like how you study abroad. And it was like from 5:30 to like 8. The 18th, just a couple of board games with Hillel was my only real activity, and more club swim. 19th, I actually tried Chabad for the first time. Didn't love it, to be honest, but and that was like 7 to 8. It's later than Hillel, I'll put it that way. So that was Chabad, a unique experience that personally, I'm going to be honest, I was not the biggest fan of. Just going to be dead honest there. Was not the biggest fan of it. Not a huge Chabad person. But is this gonna be a good picture to line up? Should be. Anyway, so yeah, that was a bit of an interesting experience. And then I actually did another painting thing from like, not pumpkin, just painting from like 10 to 11 that Friday. Weird day. Saturday, my mom came in on the 20th, and then I went to a date from 2 to 4, stopped off my dorm before going to a volleyball game that I thought some of my friends were going to go to, but ultimately none of them did, from 5 to 6:30. Got bored, wound up going back, because that Sunday, from 8 to 5, the Honors Adventure Club was taking a trip to Cape Henlopen State Park. Another thing in southern Delaware along Route 1, just this time, it's even further to the south. 22nd was honestly low-key a bit interesting because of Rosh Hashanah. Same for the 23rd, plus quite a few of my classes got canceled because of that. And then, of course, Epsilon Eta was doing an introductory chapter meeting. Because I found out after my interview on the 15th, oh, that's what I was forgetting on the 15th. After I had gotten in, they had this, I found I got in on the 20th, and then I was to go to the meeting. And then 24th and 25th, there's a few EH-related events I go to. 25th is another club swim night. 24th isn't, but 25th was a club swim night. So I made sure to go to that. Because Thursdays are actually the most fun nights to do club swim, low-key. 26th, there's a Climate Scholars teach-in event. 27th, Epsilon Eta was doing a trash clean from 10 to 11:15, and then Club Swim was doing a pasta party from 6 to 7 in advance for the actual swim meet, which was that Sunday. We had to leave at 8:15 to go to College Park, Maryland, so actually really far, and it's down I-95 this time. So no more southern Delaware. We're going to Maryland and practically DC. It was from 11 to 4, and then we got back at 6-ish. For some reason, at a lot of these events, you don't have the pictures that I was in from them, because people just didn't post them on their social media. Not saying I have none of them, but I don't have most of them. 29th was just another boring day. 30th, I don't think too much really happened on the 30th either. I don't remember too much happened on the 30th. Besides an exam. October 1st, my physics lab was canceled, so I actually got to do stuff in the afternoon by helping out with the U-Dance fundraiser on the Raceway. So a unique Wednesday afternoon, but I definitely prefer it to physics lab. And I'm excited next week my physics lab is canceled, so I get to do more fun stuff on Wednesday that doesn't involve physics lab. I've been having problems with this. October 2nd is Yom Kippur, so I have a test and a class in the morning, but most days are spent doing stuff with Hillel. And then the 3rd is parents' night, and then after that they take me to the hotel in Christiana. The 4th is there's donuts for the dean, and then my parents take me out for my birthday, and then it's going back to the hotel. On the 5th, they give me my breakfast, and then we do shopping, and then they leave, and I didn't really do a whole lot besides watch the Eagles lose. The 6th, there was an October 7th commemoration, so I went to that. The 7th, besides the AMS thing, and another Epsilon Eta meeting, again, there just wasn't a whole lot on the 7th. The 8th, again, just not a whole lot going on, if I'm being honest. And then the 9th, well, there was another Hillel event that I went to in the Sukkah, but honestly, it was just mostly me packing, because Friday I had to wake up at 6:50, annoyingly early, went to the dining hall at 7:30, got breakfast, and then just made my way over to Wilmington 8:15, got there 9, my train was delayed, so I didn't actually have to leave until 10:50, but I actually made my way back on then. That's a full month of what it was. And again, obviously, I'm usually coming home every 3 to 4 weeks. I'm gonna try to. 5 was just a bit much. It began to get to me at the end.